The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters at Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Welcome to Icons of Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Patty Teal, and today's real estate icon is Michael Daugherty. We're so excited to have him here. He's with Own Real Estate, which is focused on serving others, connecting buyers and sellers to their homeownership goals. He has become an award-winning realtor throughout Hampton Roads, concentrating on creating an experience that leads his clients to refer him to their friends and family. Welcome, Michael.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you here.
Yeah.
I know so little about the area that you live and work in Virginia. So that's one of the favorite things about my job is to get to talk to people like you and not only learn about your wonderful skill set, but about the area. Can you tell me a little bit about Hampton Roads area?
Yeah, so it's really transient. It's a very military-driven market. We have several military bases here. I think the largest naval base in the world still is Naval Station Norfolk. So there's a constant flow of people coming and going. So it's a really good area to be a real estate agent because people move a lot.
Oh, yeah, I guess that is a good area. And what's the average cost of a home in your area?
Right now, I'd say we're probably around 280,000.
So it's fairly affordable as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. So, Michael, we usually start with people telling their real estate journey. So, what got you into this field of work? When did you start? How did you get to the point you are today where you're so successful?
Well, I got into it because my wife was a stay-at-home mom at the time, and we already had a daughter, and then she got pregnant with our son, and I was not making enough money at my current job. And then also around the same time, the small company I was working for had to drop the health care that they had. So I was not making enough money and we needed health insurance. So I was actually going to join the military so that I would have an opportunity for advancement and then obviously good health benefits. And my dad did not want me to do that because he was afraid I'd get stationed elsewhere and then be away from my kids, if I was deployed and stuff. So he said, hey, why don't you get your real estate license because you've always been a good salesperson. And what's funny about him saying I was a good salesperson is I didn't really have like a ton of sales experience in my background. I worked at Best Buy, which was not a commission-based job, and I worked at Radio Shack, which was, but I think he was more referring to like the school fundraisers I did when I was a kid. I did pretty well at those. So I said, sure, Dad, let's do it. So I borrowed the $400 or whatever it was needed for the class, and I was never really a good student in school. I did 2 semesters of college and, dropped out of that, didn't like it. Sitting in the class is not really my thing, but in that real estate class, I really locked in and I really knew that this was my opportunity to be able to make something of myself and have a good career. So I studied real hard, passed the test on the first try, and then, started real estate in April of 2014, I believe is when my license came in. And that's what got me in, was just the motivation to provide better for my family.
Oh, well, that's a great motivation. Now, was your dad in real estate or he just thought you'd be good at it?
No, my mom was, and she still is. My
Mhm.
dad's not in real estate sales ever.
Yeah. Do you get any tourists as well? When I was reading up on your area, it sounds like it's got a lot of history there, or just mainly people that are military.
Yeah, there's a decent amount of tourism, not a ton. There's certainly markets better than ours for tourists, but we do have beaches, and so people do come to go to the beach and stuff. There's a resort area of Virginia Beach called Sandbridge. There's a lot of short-term rentals and stuff down there. So that has some to do with our market, but it's mainly military industry driven.
Okay, that's really interesting. So how do these military men and women find you? Where do you get your referrals from and your repeat business? I imagine you have a lot of repeat business. How did that
Yeah.
all come about?
Well, really, we try to focus, number one, on doing a really good job for the people we have now. And then we keep a database of everyone we've ever served or talked to. We try to provide value to those people on an ongoing basis, not just during the transaction, but before, during, and after. And then, pretty regularly go back and say, hey, if you have any friends, family, or coworkers moving to or from the area, we'd love to serve them, just as, general reminders that we're here to help. And so if you send us their name and phone number, we'd be glad to take good care of them. And that seems to resonate with people. And being that a lot of our clients are military, you have a pretty steady stream of new first-time buyers coming in to the area. And then if you do a good job for those people and stay in touch with them, there's a pretty good chance they're going to use you when they do decide to sell.
Interesting. Now, so many people that I've spoken to from around the country, first-time buyers had a really difficult time, not now as much, but in the last couple of years, because there were so many cash buyers coming in. And so there would be such high competition and little inventory. Did you also experience that?
Yeah, that definitely played a role in it. I have friends that live in California or places like Oregon on the West Coast where buyers were selling in California, and they'd just be normal people, like school teachers, but they'd sell a house that they had owned for 25 years and retire up to Oregon. And selling a house in California, if you've owned it for a long time, it's been paid off. Right. So they walk away with $800,000. And so, my friends that were moving to Oregon had a really hard time because of that. So I know what you're saying. In our area, it played some role, but not as big because, again,
not as much. Yeah,
most of the people coming here did not have that kind of cash. You'd see sizable cash guarantees, and a lot of our clients had that. I've had military clients PCSing here from other areas that would sell a house in another area, and maybe they net 100,000, 150,000 from selling, and so they do an appraisal guarantee to the seller. That's what we saw more of. There weren't a ton of all cash offers, but there were some.
Yeah. So have things changed in the last few months, the market?
Certainly, they've changed some. The interest rates have gone up significantly. So a house, let's say a house that cost $500,000 to purchase last year, if you were a VA buyer, using a VA loan because you're military, that house will probably cost you $2,500 to $2,600 a month to own last year on a 2.5% to 3% interest rate. This year, that same house is going to cost you closer to $3,500. So there's been a significant difference in the monthly payment that people are having to make. And so that's kind of moved buyers down, from if they're looking at 500,000 last year, maybe they're looking at 400,000 this year. So that's affected it. But market's still good overall. I mean, the higher interest rates have made things a little more fair because you don't see as many offers, and then therefore you don't see as many giant cash guarantees.
Right. It might be a little hard for somebody to swallow if their friend got a house and is paying $1,000 less. But I know what you say. That's just the way the market moves, isn't it?
Yeah. And the interest rates aren't forever. There's a slogan going around now: you marry the house and date the rate. And that is true. You buy the house, you're probably going to live there for 5 to 10 years. But the interest rate, if it goes down, you can always refinance it later.
Somebody else said that somebody else I interviewed. I've got to write that down. Marry the house and date the rate. That's really cute.
Catchy.
That's cute. So do you have a team that you work with, Michael?
Yeah, I've got a smaller team. I have 3 agents and then 1 full-time assistant. I normally carry 2 full-time assistants, but in the process of interviewing another one right now. But so you about 3 or 4 agents and then 2 assistants.
Yeah. So are each of your agents different in that they have various strengths? And I want to know what you think your best strength as a realtor, and maybe what they do that complements what you do.
Yeah, so my team's not set up in such a way that I'm using them to facilitate my sales. I do use like showing assistants a lot. If I go out of town or something, I don't want my buyers not being able to see a house, or if somebody wants to see a house today and already have something booked, I don't want them to miss that house. So I use showing assistants in that way, but my team members really I see as their own individual businesses, and I'm really just here to help them build their business. So they obviously do have different personalities and therefore different strengths, but I don't use their personalities or strengths to really complement my business. They're more there to service like the excess of leads that have come in. And then I try to train them on how to build a database and a business from those leads so that they can get repeat referral business.
Right. So, obviously, you're doing very well. We wouldn't be having you on the show if you weren't, but what
Yeah.
are your upcoming goals for the rest of the year?
I used to have long lists of number of transactions I wanted to do or certain gross commission amount I wanted to hit. After a while, you got to develop different goals and different types of goals. So I've had some pretty major life shifts. And so my major goal this year was to buy myself a new home, which I did. I'm closing on it next week. Uh,
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Last year I was really investing. My focus was heavily on investing and the year before that. And so that's kind of what I did with my profits over the last 2 years. Again, this year it's been more saving up to buy myself my own new home and move and stuff like that. So at the beginning of the year, I think my goal was to sell 300 units. But just as some things progressed this year, my focus shifted away so much from business goals, but to more of the like personal life goals. Again, buying my own home and moving was the major thing
Right.
there. So we're doing that one. And now I just want to, finish the year strong and save up as much money as I can to start investing again next year and buy some more rental properties.
Oh, do you have some rental properties right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, nice,
Yeah,
nice.
I would if you're a newer agent and you want to know what to do with the money you make after you kind of get past survival mode, you want to invest in real estate. That's what you want to do.
Oh,
There's
mm-hmm.
massive tax advantages to it, massive tax advantages to it for anyone. But if you're a real estate professional, the tax advantages are even better.
Right. So do you mentor other newer real estate agents, or do you offer any kind of tutoring?
Yeah, in office, I really try to keep my focus on my day-to-day business because the profitability is much higher there than if I turn my focus out. Maybe one day the focus won't be so much on profitability, but it'll be more on like legacy type activities, like mentoring other people.
Mm-hmm.
I do it. It's just not my main focus. Obviously, I'm a mentor to my team members, and then if the office has a new person come in, a new agent, they always place that new agent with a mentor. And
Oh,
so
nice.
yeah, it's a great program. So I do have a mentee right now, but I don't really do much outside the office. If an agent calls me, and I don't care where they're from, they call me and they do, and wants to ask me questions or do maybe a shorter version of this interview just to kind of see like what my journey was like and what works for me. I always try to make time for them because I always want to be a hand up, for the next person.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you tell me a little bit about the own brokerage?
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. When I got started in April of 2014, I was at another firm for probably 4 months, maybe 3 or 4 months. And I met a guy named Jonathan Melvin, who's my broker now still, because he was going crazy. He was selling like 250 homes a year. He had 40 listings at a time, just doing great business. And he was primarily focused on foreclosure listings. And so a lot of buyers would call in about these foreclosures, but he didn't necessarily have the time to go show the house to the buyer because, again, there's a lot of work involved with selling 250 listings a year. And so it was just him and three other agents at the time when I came on. I was like their fifth agent. And so a call would come into the office. There was a buyer who wanted to see a house, and I would take that call as the new guy. Again, these buyers are calling in about foreclosures. Back in 2014, 2015,
Sure.
some of these foreclosures were $60,000, $70,000. We're not talking about like big money opportunities. But I didn't
Mm-hmm.
care. I was brand new. I had nothing,
Sure. Mm-hmm.
anything. And so I would go out and show that house to the buyer and make an advocate out of that buyer was my goal. I didn't want to just sell this one $60,000 house. I wanted to help them buy it. And then in a few years when they wanted to sell again, I'd help them sell it. By that time, the house is no longer a foreclosure. They've made it a nice home. So now it's maybe 250 grand. And then we sell and go buy another one. But going back to own, that's why I came. And back then it was called Benham Real Estate LLC. And then I really started to use and learn the training and teaching of Brian Buffini, BuffiniandCompany.com. If you're newer in the industry, I highly recommend going to BuffiniandCompany.com and taking every training program they offer, because that's what I did. And so that is what I used to build out my referral style business, was what Buffini and Company teaches. When Jonathan and our other broker, Sean Rooney, saw that working in my business, they said, hey, maybe we should try to take on more agents and help them, because Jonathan and Sean did a lot for me and helped me change my life. They saw an opportunity to help other people too. So they started bringing on more agents, and, we would always try to get those agents to use the Buffini and Company systems and trainings that were working for me. And so they broke off. I hear your pups. they they broke off from Benham Real Estate LLC, where they were selling the foreclosures, and then Jonathan and Sean opened it up, Benham Signature Properties. A couple years later, they wanted a name that was not really a namesake, because Benham is someone's last name that trained Jonathan. They wanted something that wasn't a namesake. They wanted something that did not overshadow the individual agent's name and individual agent's brand. And that's why they changed the name to OWN. So really, it's been the same company since 2014. It's just gone through a couple of name changes since then. But that's really what OWN exists to do. They try to operate their business as a brokerage in such a way that it really elevates and builds the individual agent's business and doesn't overshadow it.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's a great way for agents to really, really be successful if they really focus on that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I apologize for my dogs. But Simon would understand.
I understand.
Yeah, I understand. So there aren't any foreclosures. There weren't any foreclosures, I imagine, in the last couple of years, because that business kind of dried up, didn't it?
There's no inventory.
Right. Do you foresee that they might be a problem once again, or I guess a problem for the people that are being foreclosed upon, but do you foresee that will be a market once again?
I do. I mean, there's always going to be people who, have life hardships, and maybe they can't short sale and the house goes into foreclosure. Unfortunately, that's just part of life, part of the economy. It's not going to be maybe not for another 70 years, like it was in 2008, where you just have millions and millions of foreclosures. That is more than likely not going to happen anytime soon, but it will come back in some fashion. I mean, things are going to level out. Inventory won't always be this low. You're certainly starting to see some pressure on things with the interest rates going up. So I do think it comes back in some way.
Yeah, I guess it's all a cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you see for your area in the near future? As far as housing pricing, do you think they'll dramatically go up, a steady rise? What are you expecting?
We had a meeting yesterday, and I think most of the top economic companies in the area that do the studies and stuff, not just in our area, but in the country, are projecting on average an 8.5% appreciation from this time this year to this time next year, which is really high. Real estate on average, I think, appreciates 5.3-ish% a year over the last century. So 8's a lot. It's not what it was last year. I think last year was like 10 or 11% or something crazy, but it's still a lot. So I do think things continue to appreciate. I don't think, and I hope not, I don't think that they appreciate as quickly as they did in years, past couple years. Because like that's nice for homeowners. It's not so nice for first-time buyers.
Right.
We don't want to be in a situation in which new blood is not coming into the market.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good for anybody. It feels good for people that own real estate right now, but 20, 30 years from now, it's going to feel really elitist and classist if newer people can't. So we always, as a country, want to be in a position where people in their early 20s can go out and buy a house. Home ownership is a really good thing for everybody.
I so agree. It's just really the American dream. And you feel kind of bad for people in an area where everything's over $1 million. And especially, the first time home buyer is just fed out.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, I so thank you for being on Icons of Real Estate. Would you share your contact information?
Sure. My personal cell phone number is 757-289-2649. You can call me anytime. It's fine. You can find me on Facebook. I try to add people that I know only. Instagram, anybody can follow me, and I post all the same stuff on Instagram that I do on Facebook. And Instagram is @late_Mike, LATE_MIKE. I'm not late for appointments.
You're not late a lot? Okay, good.
That was a nickname given to me by people at my gym. So
that's funny. That's cute.
With it.
Well, it has been a pleasure, and I so thank you for being on Icons of Real Estate. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good
All
day.
right, bye.